All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the League of Gluten Free Adventurers. And here you are live with me today. So feel free to drop your questions or comments in the comment section and just let me know, how are you doing and where are you watching from today? I'd love to hear from you. Okay. So my name is Miri Pizann. I am a gluten-free coach. Let's see. Oh, and today is July 7th. It's another gorgeous Friday outside. Oh my gosh. And boy, that heat is starting to cook on us today, isn't it? At least it is here in the Pacific Northwest. Whew. So, yes. Anyway, okay. So, welcome to the League of Gluten Free Adventurers. Welcome, welcome, welcome to my Friday Live. And yes, Miri Pizann, gluten-free coach. I have been gluten-free for about a decade at this point. I have failed in every possible way. I have made all of the mistakes and I have learned from every single one of them. And at this point, it breaks my heart. Whoops. It breaks my heart that anybody else would be making mistakes. And you know what? It doesn't have to be that way. So if you are feeling tired or frustrated, or you just wish you knew all of it sooner and faster, that is what I am here for. And I am here to help you get better with your gluten-free adventure. Okay. So my goal is to help you turn your gotta into a get to. So today, our topic is, how do you feel adventurous when you're gluten-free? Because, oh my gosh, it feels like nothing is available. You can't have any of the foods that are out there. How can you possibly go out and try new foods when everything is scary and you don't know where you're going to get whammied next, right? So there's a couple of things, and a lot of this, like, you have to have your baseline. You have to know what the ingredients are that are safe for you, or more importantly, you have to know what the ingredients are that are not safe for you. You have to be very clear on what you cannot have, and you have to be able to communicate that well to other people. So if you have not figured that out yet, if you're still working on this, I'm sorry, but it is absolutely a memorization game. And once you've got it down, the list pretty much stays the same. Like, you might have to remind yourself, oh yeah, sometimes chocolate has barley malt in it. But like, as long as you know, like, these are the names of gluten, these are what show up, you're going to be pretty good. And you might have to tweak a little bit along the way, but for the most part, once you have it down, you're rock solid, right? So then it's all in your head. The rest of it is all in your head, because it is not that food is inherently scary, right? It is that we have decided it is scary because there's so many unknowns and there's so much more on the line for us than there is for the regular person, and I'm sorry, not regular, for mainstream eaters. And what I mean by that is that if you go up to a cart or a food truck, right? You will never have to wonder to yourself, but is it okay to eat, or is there actually arsenic in there? It is required that arsenic is not in any food. But for us, it's different, because gluten can show up like anywhere in any food. It could be some random ingredient, and you're sitting there thinking, but why would they put it in here? And I don't have an answer for you. In fact, I still shout that, but why? Why is it in this stupid food? There's no reason, right? But it is. So at that point, the danger is in our heads, right? Like, it's real. It is real. There is a possibility that any food that is presented to you might have gluten. And I'm not saying that you're overreacting. You're not. But what you need to do is find a balance inside of yourself on risk tolerance, right? And also self-esteem, knowledge of yourself. and knowing that you have asked all of the questions that you possibly can, you have come in as armed as you possibly can be, and you have all of the tools at your disposal. And that's what I mean by it's in your head. Like, once you've got this down, once you've got the list down, you've got it, it. And right now, I know that you are working on learning all of the techniques, what questions to ask, what's the best way to ask them, who should you be asking, who is it safe to talk to, who is like, it's not worth it. You're figuring all of this out. You are putting together your toolbox. And that's it. That is how you feel adventurous going out and trying new foods. You know what to ask, you know who to ask, and you know what to ask for. And when you've got that down, it becomes so much easier to navigate, and this is something that anybody can do totally for free. And it's not, it is not difficult, but there is a lot that you have to get down, and it can feel very overwhelming, especially in the beginning. But kind of like, remember when you were little and learning how to tie your shoes? Maybe it was really super difficult at first, and you might have mucked it up a few times, maybe even tied your own shoes together. Not that I know anything about that, but like but eventually you learn it, and it just becomes part of your daily activity. And it's like, it's no longer, I have to wear shoes with Velcro. I can choose, do I want Velcro today or do I want laces? And you get that choice. And so that's what this is. And that's what it becomes. It just becomes part of your everyday experience. It's just another thing that you have to do, just like tying your shoelaces. So just remember, I want you to remember that you can do this. Yeah, you absolutely can. So that's the thing, is like, it's all about your mindset. It's about how you approach this. This is something that we've been talking about for the last few weeks. And I want to give you, like, this is the magic for me anyway. And I think it'll be magical for you, is you need to remember that in going gluten-free, you are giving up ingredients, not food. Let me say that again. You are giving up ingredients, not food, when you are gluten-free. And what I mean by that is that, with the exception of, I think it's seitan, which is basically gluten in like a meat-like form, a protein form, right? You don't actually eat gluten by itself. You eat it as an additive to whatever else that you're making. But it turns out that just about everything that's made with gluten can be made without, right? So you can have the gluten-free bread. Does it taste the same? Maybe, maybe not. But you also need to keep looking, because I promise you, there is a bread out there, or a recipe out there, or something. And like, you have got to just go through all of the different places and all of the different options. You will find the one that you like. You just have to keep looking. And that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people, they just give up. They're like, well, I've tried as many as I could find and none of them work. And every single time that I ask, well, what have you tried? They give me like 3. There's so many options out there. Okay. So you've got to just keep going. And it can be hard. Again, I know that it feels overwhelming. I certainly felt overwhelmed, but it's possible. And anything that you can imagine that you used to eat before, you can find a way to eat again. Will it be exactly the same? Maybe, maybe not, but it can still taste really good. Okay. You just have to remember, you have to keep it inside yourself that this is possible. So the other way that so that's part of it, right? Is having the mindset, it's out there, it exists, and someday I'm going to find it. I just have to keep looking, right? So the mindset is part of it for sure. But the other thing that will help you keep your sense of adventure when it comes to food, so that you're not stuck in a rut all the time and you're not eating the same 5 things over and over again, unless you really like to. Some people do. But if you want to expand and have variety, a really important skill for that is to improve your kitchen skills. And I know not everybody wants to hear that. I say that to my bestie sometimes and she's like, "Yeah." But I mean, that's it. That's what you got to do, because you can make it yourself and you can try different things. And what I'm always saying is, who knows? Maybe you'll try something new and this will be the magic thing that you've never had before, and all of a sudden you have discovered you love this. But you're not going to find out if you're just sticking to the same 5 things over and over again and never trying anything else, right? So you need to make sure that you are stretching yourself, even though it's scary, right? Because we know that like gluten shows up in wheat, rye, and barley, and oats is kind of its own little thing. So that's only 3 or 4 ingredients that you have to avoid, and whatever comes out of them. But if you're making it in your own kitchen, those are really easy to avoid. And there are so many different options out there. And the fun thing is that if you're trying different recipes, there are entire cuisines out there that are essentially gluten-free. The first one that pops into my mind is Thai food, right? They really don't use a whole lot of soy sauce. Now, I'm not going to say that everything is 100%, and then you go to the restaurant that does use soy sauce, or they've got, soy sauce in the fish sauce and the thing and the thing. So you still have to be aware, but like, there are a lot of cuisines out there. Another one that pops to mind is Mexican, and we think of the soft flour tortillas. So yeah, don't have the flour tortillas, but if you stick with the corn tortillas, as long as it's not going in the same fryer as the flour tortillas, pretty much you can have anything at the Mexican restaurant. You're golden. Another one is Indian food. So, and like steak and a salad, right? So there are options, and there are so many options. You just need to be willing to try new things. And maybe go out and find yourself a friend. Like my husband, he was convinced that he hated Indian food. He was like, "It is not for me." And when I probed just a little bit deeper, I was like, "Why don't you like Indian food? Because it's really yummy. Why don't you like it?" And he's like, "Well, when I was younger, a bunch of my friends took me to an Indian restaurant and they ordered all this food and it was so hot I couldn't eat it. And like I just sat there and didn't eat for the rest of the meal." And I'm like, "Well, of course that's going to be miserable. You had a bad guide." I was like, "I'm going to order for you." And I got him like a whole bunch of different stuff. I was like, "You try it." And he's like, "Well, this is all good. So I like these ones, but I don't like Indian food." And I was like, "No, your friends messed with you, man. That's not fair. Like this is Indian food just as much as what they gave you." So if you're nervous about trying a new cuisine, you can always find a friend who says that they enjoy it and go with them, but make sure that they're going to treat you fair. Like if you can't handle hot food, you be very clear that like this is their one chance, right? But anyway, so it's so exciting because you can taste the world. There are so many different foods out there, and when you're working on your kitchen skills, or when you're trying new cuisines, this is a chance for you to bring the world to you, right? And it really is a great way to expand and connect with other people, because now all of a sudden you're trying new things and you're meeting new people. And so it can be a really positive experience to try new foods, even when you're gluten free. Okay. So if you have any questions, please do pop them into the comments. I will be happy to talk with you about that. Speaking of questions, I have here a note from my inbox, and let's see. Clara was asking, How do I travel on a gluten-free diet and enjoy what I'm able to eat? Clara, here it is. It's the same kind of concept, right? About feeling adventurous. So, number one, if you are traveling, bring food with you that you like. However long your travel experience is going to be, make sure that you're bringing food with you so that if you end up in a place where they really can't accommodate you safely, you can still pull out your protein bar, your granola bar, or a piece of fruit or whatever it is, like you have your apple on standby, but bring food with you. And yes, you can bring food with you on the airplane. It just cannot be liquid, or like it's got to be solid. So I think Jello's okay, but like sauces aren't, that kind of thing, right? So bring food with you. And if you're going to be there for a while, you can actually ship food to yourself, right? As long as somebody will be there. Even the hotel, if you're going to stay at a hotel, you can ship food to the hotel. They will hold it for you until, so obviously these are going to be shelf stable foods, not, don't ship yourself eggs, but you can get eggs at pretty much any grocery store. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you can ship foods to yourself if you have time and you know that it's coming up. And another thing that I really strongly recommend is to do your research. So if you're going to be able to cook when you're traveling, bring recipes with you that that you can make with like, you don't have to worry about like gluten-free pasta or bread or whatever. Bring stuff that you can just make without ingredients that have gluten in them. Another idea is that you can use an app. There's a bunch of different apps out there. I know that Gluten Dude has one, and a lot of people swear by it. My favorite, though, is Find Me Gluten Free. And you do have to be careful because the restaurants are vetted by the community, not by a single person. So, you kind of need to read through the comments and see what people are saying to figure out if it is something that A, you're going to enjoy, and B, they have like, they're conscientious enough for you and your tolerance level. Okay. So I hope that gives you some ideas on how you can enjoy foods while you are adventuring off in the great unknown. And that, I think, is everything that I have for you today. So thank you so much for swinging by. It has been an absolute joy to spend time with you today. I wish you the very best Friday. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will be seeing you next week. All right, take care and have a beautiful day.